Notes from the Underground by Dostoevsky, Part 2, on the occasion of wet snow. When from the darkness of delusion, with ardent words of persuasion, I drew your fallen soul to light, and heart rent with profound torment, wringing your hands you cursed the vice that held you captive in its snares. When, punishing by recollection your conscience that had slept so long, you led me through the sordid tale of all the years before we met, and suddenly your face you covered with utter shame and horror filled, venting your grief in bitter tears, revolted, shaken to your depths. From a poem. I was only 24 at the time, and my life was already then gloomy, disorderly, and wildly solitary. I did not associate with anyone, avoiding even conversations, and retreated more and more into my corner. At work and in the office, I tried not to look at anyone. And I was perfectly aware that my colleagues not only considered me an eccentric, but I too felt that they seemed to regard me with a kind of loathing. Today it is entirely clear to me that, due to my unbounded vanity and hence demands upon myself, I often looked upon myself with furious dissatisfaction, verging on loathing, and therefore mentally attributed my feelings to others. For example, I hated my face. I thought it was revolting, and even suspected that it bore a kind of nasty, abject expression, and therefore every time I came to work, I painfully tried to carry myself as independently as possible and to assume the noblest air, so that no one would suspect me of my abjectness. It may not be a handsome face, I thought, but let it be nobly expressive and extremely intelligent. But I knew with agonizing certainty that my face would never express all these perfections. Worst of all, I found it positively stupid. And then I would have gladly settled just for intelligence. I even would have reconciled myself to the abject expression if only people would at the same time find my face terribly intelligent. Normally, I detested all of my office colleagues, down to the last one, despised them all, and yet I seemed to fear them too. At times, I'd even suddenly decide that they were superior to me. In those years, my feelings were always shifting suddenly. Now I despised people, now I set them above myself. A cultivated and decent man cannot be vain without making boundless demands upon himself, and without moments of self-contempt verging on self-hatred. But whether I despised a man or felt he was superior, I always dropped my eyes before his. I even made experiments. Could I endure the glance of this one or that one? I was always the first to drop my eyes. This tormented me to the point of rage. I was morbidly afraid to look ridiculous, and therefore slavishly worshipped established conventions in everything external. I set myself with dedication into the general groove and deeply dreaded any sign of eccentricity within me. How could I sustain this?